Good afternoon, Mattheles and film majors. Today is Monday, August 13, 2012, and today I'm going to talk about writing and why it makes me nervous. So as you might be aware, at this point, I am a film major, and I love everything involved. I love editing, I love cinematography, I love directing, but something that I also really love about it is the writing process. I love writing. I love having characters and situations floating around in my head. I love telling stories. My problem is that I get very nervous when I get someone to read my writing. Here are some reasons why. I am absolutely terrified of being seen as a Mary Sue writer. Mary Sue characters are characters that are just a little bit too perfect or a little bit too much like the author writing the character. A popular example of a Mary Sue character is Bella Swan from Stephenie Meyer's Twilight series. If we look at Stephenie Meyer and then we look at a description of Bella Swan and then we compare the two, we'll see a lot of similarities. Take a picture of Stephenie Meyer. Pale skin, brown hair, brown eyes, pointed chin, full lips, wide forehead with a widow's peak. There are a lot of similarities. My point is they look very similar and very familiar. The first time I ever wrote a draft of anything fictional, I wrote about a girl in a special high school, or a girl who was a field hockey goalie, or a girl who was on the robotics team, or all three. Suffice to say, when I let somebody read my drafts, I was surprised at first when people would come up to me and say, "Is this supposed to be you?" And I'd be like, no, what? Yeah, kind of. My problem was I wrote what I knew, and I know me best. But that's not enough. You have to know other people and pay attention to other personalities and use your experiences to build characters and situations and responses and actions and dialogue. It's kind of a mix of your experience and your imagination, but it can't just be your personality. I'm working on that. Nowadays, I just get crazy defensive when anyone tries to draw parallels between my characters or myself. My parents could tell you that I go from happy to hostile, like that. I let them read a draft of something I wrote after seeing this prompt. It's a set of keys hanging from what appears to be a section of barbed wire fencing with the prompt, "Tell this story." I wrote about Michael Fassett, a boy who is in this house surrounded by fencing that he can't get out of. Why he's locked in his house, I can't tell you, because A, I'm still working on it, and B, it's irrelevant. But I let my parents read the drafts, and my dad kind of jokingly said, "Are you supposed to be Michael? Are you the one locked in the house? Are you trying to get out?" Let me just remind you that I go happy to hostile like that. It wasn't pretty. But I am working on that too. The third thing that I have a lot of trouble with is writing anything romantic or intimate in any way, shape, or form. Because in my mind, I know that people will read it, and my friends and my family will be very acutely aware of me being the one that wrote it. Example, I asked my mom what she would do if I told her that I was E.L. James, the author of 50 Shades of Grey. Anyway, my mom's response was that she would have some questions about my extracurricular activities. Now, in order for me to have written 50 Shades of Grey, I would have had to have a very impressive imagination, seeing as I have no actual experience with that particular area, field, genre. No particular experience with that kind of genre. Even so, my mom's initial reaction was to assume that I had some kind of first-hand experience with it. Now here I could mention that I've seen many things on Tumblr written by girls that literally could not have physically obtained first-hand experience with such a genre. And that doesn't stop them from writing, nor should it. But there you go. Story time! Imagine the first time scene in a movie. He's walking her to her door, it's very cute, they walk up to her little doorstep, she puts the key in, she's like, "Oh, I had a really nice time tonight." And he's like, "Yeah," and then one of them goes for the kiss, and you're like, "Ah, so cute." And then they pause for a beat, and they just look into each other's eyes. Then all of a sudden the characters are crashing through the front door, latched to each other's faces, making all kinds of breathing sounds. At some point he will lift her up, and she will wrap her legs around him, and he will carry her off to the bedroom that he has never seen, and has no logical reason of knowing how to locate. That, or there will be, at some point, a counter or a table or a desk that needs clearing before events can continue. Clothes will be flying everywhere. Possibly all three of these things will occur. Problem is, that was written by somebody. Or by somebodies. He's supposed to carry her off to the bedroom. The counter is supposed to be wiped clear. Blah 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 blah. When I see that in a movie or a TV show, or I read it in a book or online, I imagine somebody writing it. Somewhere in a darkened room lit only by a computer screen, this scene came out of somebody's head. Because I know I have thought these things, I know that it's completely possible that other people can read my work and think these things too. and they'll wonder about me in my dark room with my computer screen. Neil Gaiman answered a question about this on Tumblr a while back where somebody asked how you write these things knowing family and friends already. He just said you kind of have to push through it, as terrifying as it might be. And terrifying it is! I had to write an intimate scene for my screenwriting class last year. Imagine, if you will, writing for a class and getting responses from classmates like, "It should be hotter," or "I wasn't excited." And you get that kind of response from professors, too. Now, first of all, I might not be writing an intimate scene just to get the hot factor or to excite an audience. I'm a very shy person, if I don't know you, so that translates very directly to my ability to, like, if you know what I mean by that. I'm working on that too. Basically, whenever anybody writes a book or a poem or a song or a TV show or a movie script, it's very, very personal because it has to come from that person's experiences or that person's imagination. To admit that something like that came out of your head and you don't know how people are going to react, so that makes it very, very personal and very, very scary. But I'm working on it. For the film majors, I'm Caitlin. For the mathletes, Susan will be here on Wednesday, and for everybody else, thanks for hanging out with us. See ya!